healing process, journaling, and the healing process, objectively looking at it, and when you tell your story, know that it is objectively what it is, but that you learned from it. You need to add that additional piece of what you learned from it whenever you do tell your story. That it's fine now because it made you better. Because without that, you would understand a lot of things, and now you have more tools in life to help you be more successful into your fruition and in protecting your spirit, your soul, right? Yeah, you want to save your soul. Your spirit saves your soul when it is operating correctly with the Lord at the top. So that's important on healing. Also, going inside to heal your childhood wounds. If you can meditate on the Lord and think about these things and slow your life down and not distract yourself for a time and see what comes up. Things, when you're meditating like that with no distractions, your childhood wounds will surface. And a lot of times they are not that tragic. And regardless, just if there's somebody that you dealt with in the situation, just forgive them and accept it and ask the Lord to bring that part of you that is missing, that is empty from that situation back to you to make you whole again. And He will. And that's how you heal some of your childhood wounds. And sometimes where you feel maybe depression and anxiety and stuff, well, anxiety comes from you looking too far out in the future and not having control over your life. So make the changes needed, and then that anxiety will lift. If you got people controlling your life, or you're not pursuing something that you feel you need to, but you feel you can't do it, well, pursue it with passion and be relentless, and you will succeed. And that's how you get rid of anxiety. Put stock in yourself, at least before you put stock into everybody else. Meaning, give yourself time, self-love. And when it comes to the depression side of things, you know the character of the narcissist, right? And so if you were treating anybody, because there was times where we acted narcissistic, right? We all have in the past, because now we know what pure evil looks like coming from the narcissist. We know the pure character of evil looks like. So we can reflect on ways where we've acted like that in the past. Maybe for a moment in time, but these guys are pathological with it, malignant. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that that's sometimes pieces of your character that you can work on fixing. And because of that, you will be treating your neighbor better. You will be treating people with more respect, and you will be more in line and in tune with the Lord. And then that will work on getting that depression off of you and loving yourself. You have to have self-worth. So those are little healing pieces. The duality with the narcissist. Anytime you come to a situation where you're dealing with duality is a red flag as well, which would be second guessing. Second guessing and duality is very similar, if not the same. That is the presence of a narcissist, y'all. And if you're that's the beginnings of rumination, really. And that starts because you didn't listen to your intuition. So and that's not you. I'm just talking from what I've experienced. So don't think I'm coming at you self-righteously. This is with humility. But a lot of times our intuition will pop up first. And if we weren't giving it its due respect, right? You know, we didn't hone it and stuff. Then what'll happen is next you'll get the second guessing and the rumination. But the second guessing comes before the rumination, and that comes because you didn't listen to your intuition. So if you've honed your intuition, and you're going to continue to have to hone it, because you're going to have the love partner situation in that energy, and then you're going to have the energy of the frenemy, the coworker, the situations of toxic people out and about in your family that are different dynamics of narcissistic energy that can they can throw you for a loop, at least the first time, or the first couple of times you deal with folly with those situations. So to avoid the folly, just be careful and gray rock people more or less, or be more stoic until you get to a place to where you've honed that intuition in all of those departments. Okay, and then when it gets to the psychology of the narcissist and the demon possession situation, you want to think about that you have like this inner person. So a child is made up of this like inner person, this warrior. You have the parent, the adult, and all of those roles in life, right? So they're gonna feel what is right, what is wrong, what is successful, and what is not. And this is where right and wrong becomes solidified. See, it may not become solidified when they're babies and toddlers and into young childhood. But it can seem that way if they continue to run it over. And so if they continue to run it over, then it will look like that to others because they haven't changed. They just look like they're evil all the time. But God gives us time to repent. And if you're really young, he's going to give you time to come out of some of that adolescence and give you opportunities to change, because we all have right and wrong. So as you get older, if you did operate in those circumstances because your family pushed you into them, so to speak, let's say you're brainwashed into them, when you get older, you will still have right and wrong, and it will be honed better because you're into more of late childhood, which would give you the opportunity to change then. I'm telling you, God gives you fail-safes and opportunities. You have to directly defy God, man, to get to a place where the narcissist is today. You don't just become like that. That doesn't just happen. There is not a victim when it comes to narcissism. None of it. None of those individuals are victims or have to be placed under victimhood. Who's placed under victimhood, would be the one that is being forced to the under the aggressor. But when the aggressor is gone, you have to find a way to heal, and that's just the bottom line. Or else you become part of victimhood. Unfortunately, I mean, for a time you're going to have transition there, but for all intents and purposes, when the victim, supposedly, who they call the narcissist almost the victim, and maybe they were abused, but we were all abused. So to some degree, they have to man up. And instead of manning up, they decide to become like the abuser. And like I said, I'm from the school of thought that just because you were abused doesn't mean that it doesn't give you the right to abuse others. I mean, where do you make sense of that? And it doesn't give you the right to give up on love and then expect everybody to exploit everybody for your own gains. That's to say that you're not even in humanity. Nobody gets brainwashed to that point. You become that way when you get to those areas in life and those points in reality. That's because you liked it so much that you took yourself down that road. Like I said, out of laziness or out of liking it and having to have it. Or like I said, the third situation, the combination of the two. But those are all decisions. Those are all covenants, commitments, decisions, and consents. You can't be brainwashed into it. You either chose it or you didn't. And if you chose it out of what you call victimhood, well, you knew it was wrong anyway. So you would unfortunately be the one to blame for it. Or not unfortunately, it just is what it is. It is what it is, y'all. Don't give them props for playing the victim. You were as much a victim as they were. Peace.